Hello humans and street urchins, welcome to my world of stuff. My name is Paul Mount. If you're new to this channel, you may well have stumbled across this channel in your search for commentary on the film that is the subject of this video. Hey, if you quite enjoyed this video and if you think it's okay, why not like and subscribe? I would really like to get my subscriber numbers up. They're a bit stuck at the moment, so like and subscribe, leave a comment. There's a subscription button down there. Just click on it. You don't even have to watch all the videos. If they come up, you could just move away. But it would be nice to get the numbers up. So if you're interested in film reviews, book reviews, TV reviews, cinema visits, unboxings and all that sort of YouTubey stuff, this is one of the places to be. So yeah, hit the subscribe. You can do it. Right. Hello, welcome back. A quick explanation for people who are looking at me and thinking, who the hell is this bloke? It looks like he's wandered in off the street. I'm a bit unkempt at the moment. My beard is regrowing. My hair is in need of a trim. But unfortunately I can't do anything about it at the moment because I have a filming commitment in August, as some of you may know, and I think there is a video up that way somewhere about my work as a supporting artist on film and TV. I've got a commitment coming up in August for a crime reconstruction film for BBC Wales that requires me to have a full beard and apparently not shaggy hair. So I'm on a mission to regrow my beard. If you've been here since the beginning, you might remember my first couple of videos. I did have a full beard. That was for something I was filming back in January and February, I think it was. And now we're going to do it all over again. So apologies for my dishevelled look. I hope it's not too distracting. So anyway, yes, if anybody's been waiting for a haul video this week, I have been doing those videos where I go through all the new physical media, DVD, Blu-rays, 4Ks, books and anything that I pick up. Haven't had many pickups this week. I've had 2 or 3, but I've got a few more due next week, so I'll probably do one next week. So it's something I'm probably going to do as and when I've got something worth showing you. So if you like that sort of stuff, it will be coming very soon, have no fear. Right, on to the meat and potatoes of this review. I'll just turn my camera a little bit so it's a little bit squarer on the screen. Today I'm doing a review of a new film which has just arrived on Amazon Prime in the UK. It's called The Tomorrow War. It came out on Friday. I'm recording this on Sunday, so many of you may have seen it by now. If you haven't, there will be spoilers in this review, so you might want to skip to the end until you've actually seen the film. It's just, as I say, it's just arrived, and the scandal of this film, I think, is that I'm not seeing it in the cinema, because this, if anything, is a real big screen blockbuster type movie. This, I think, if it had been released in the cinema, I think it was due to be released in the cinema last year, but I think obviously the pandemic shunted lots of films onto different formats and on different streaming services, which is why this one's ended up on Amazon. But I think if this had come out last summer, as I believe was planned, this I think could possibly have been this generation's Independence Day, because it's that big and blousy and loud and daft a film. It's great fun. I'm not going to criticise it too much because it's not that sort of film. But it is a shame that it's only available on the small screen, no matter how big your screen is. I think mine's about 55 inches, my screen that is. It doesn't quite have the same impact as it would in a big cinema screen with the big multiple speakers, because it's that sort of film. It's loud and proud and big and spectacular, and I think doing it on a small screen can't help but do it a disservice. However, don't let that put you off, because it really is worth watching. It's an alien invasion story of a type. And it's not something new, it's not something, it's not rewriting the sci-fi rule book, but in terms of big, loud, special effects heavy modern blockbusters, this is pretty much as good as it gets, and this is why it's so frustrating that it's gone straight to streaming, because it deserves so much more. It mixes in, you'll recognise elements of things like Starship Troopers, Live, Die, Repeat, Independence Day, all those sorts of big high concept science fiction films, because this has the monsters, this has battle sort of war action, and it's got a very nice time travel element to it. You might know a little bit about the story. It stars Chris Pratt, who is rapidly becoming, again, this generation's sort of go-to Harrison Ford type action hero star. He's a great solid presence. We've seen him in the new Jurassic World franchise. Of course, he's one of the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's been in films like Passengers, which was very much underrated and misunderstood. And he turns up in lots of big blockbuster films because he's that sort of actor. He's got the charisma, he's got the power. He's a big masculine sort of male hero of the type that we're not really allowed to root for these days. And I'm aware that he's currently subject to a bit of a hate campaign on social media, but then, let's face it, who isn't? Because of his personal beliefs. I think he's quite religious, and I don't want to go into all that because that's not what this channel is for. I tend to try to zone out of that sort of stuff, but I think Chris Pratt doesn't deserve it because he's just seems like a good guy, and he seems like fun. He wants to make entertaining movies, and that's what he does. And I think anything else is not the point of him, not the point of what he does. Then anyway, he stars as Dan Forrester. Now, when we meet Dan, he's a bit disillusioned. He's ex-military. He's working in a school, but he wants to do a bit more. He wants to do better for himself in Civvy Street, but he can't seem to make that next step in his career. He's married. He's got a young daughter. He lives a fairly decent life, but he feels he's underachieving a little bit. As the film starts, he's attending a birthday party. I believe it's a birthday party, or in a gathering where people are watching, unusually, the World Cup. They're watching soccer, which is very odd. And then, out of the blue, a massive portal opens up on the playing field, and a group of soldiers from 30 years in the future appear and just bluntly tell the assembled and watching masses that in 30 years' time, the human race is on the edge of extinction. It's fighting a losing battle with aliens that we don't meet at this particular point, and they've come from the future to the past to recruit soldiers, or civilians even, from the modern day to fight in the war against the aliens 30 years in the future. These aliens, incidentally, are called White Spikes. I thought that was a band. That's the one. But they're called White Spikes, and they've overrun the Earth, and the human race is on the edge of extinction. So the only downside is, amongst many downsides I suppose, is that those who go through time to help out and fight in this battle, very few of them return. It's pretty much a suicide mission. Ultimately, Dan is enlisted, and he takes a trip with a group of other soldiers into the future.
7 months' time, all human beings in the future will be wiped from the face of the earth. Unless you help us.
Wanted so much more from him, so there's a bit of friction between them. This is all the sort of the background character stuff that's quite lightly sketched, but it makes his character somebody that we can really root for. When he and the troopers go back into the future, or back to the future, or into the future, it's hell on earth, and we're pitched into. The highlight for me of the film is their first trip into the future, where they go to Miami to rescue a group of scientists who are trying to come up with a way to combat the aliens. Miami is ablaze, the buildings have been destroyed, these alien creatures are everywhere, and Chris Pratt and his troops have to fight to survive, to make their way back to the extraction point where they can return to the past. It's an astonishing scene. It's about 20 minutes long. It's just full of action, gunfire, jumps and scares, huge, spectacular special effects sequences. We first meet the aliens, the White Strikes. I keep calling them something else. We first meet them, and they're pretty formidable creatures. I mean, they're that sort of, appear to be the sort of standard arachnid creatures, not dissimilar to the creatures from the Quiet Place films, for example. They've got that sort of look about them, but they're much more ferocious. And we discover that they just come to Earth just to eat. They just want to kill everybody and devour everything. The film then plays on, without giving away too much. As I've mentioned, there will be some spoilers, but there's a couple I'd rather not mention at this stage for those who haven't seen it. He meets up with one of the commanders of the resistance team, who's played by Yvonne, I think the name is pronounced Strahovski. You'll recognise some things like Dexter. She's turned up in so many American TV shows, great actress. He becomes one of the few who's sort of able to survive incredible encounters with these creatures. They're set piece after set piece. The spectacle is genuinely jaw-dropping. And I speak as somebody who's seen so many of these special effects extravagances, these big films, that they sometimes, you feel a bit sort of, yeah, I've seen all this before, but this is like a massive sort of war film. It's got that adrenaline pulsating through it. It turns out that the commanding officer is sort of somebody connected to his past, as it were, and he finds himself fighting not only for his survival but the survival of the human race when a potential way to fight back to the creatures is discovered. But can he get it utilised before the future is destroyed? I won't say any more, actually, because the plot isn't what's important here. It's really the spectacle, and it really is. If you love this sort of effects-driven film, and I do, I can always set aside my critical faculties for an alien invasion, and even there's a twist to that in this particular film. I just love that sort of thing, those sort of dystopian end of the world, sort of alien invasion things. There's always, if they're done well, they're always entertaining, and this is as entertaining as I've seen in the last 10 years, really. It's just a thrill ride. The effects and the battle scenes are genuinely stunning. It's done so seamlessly now, the green screen work and the effects and the animation. It's just, it's mind-boggling. I think what probably lets the film down a little bit is that the characterization is a little bit trite and the script is a little bit simplistic. But then we're not here for that. I mean, it's very much Chris Pratt's story. It's the story of him and his disillusionment with his past, and then realising through what he endures in the future that actually what he had in the past, the final line of the film, I think, is something... Well, no, I'm not going to give away the final line of the film, but it sort of ties up the very simplistic theme of the film, that family is all and family is important, no matter where you are in life. It's just hugely enjoyable. It's a real... I hate to say it, but I hate to say it is a real roller coaster ride in that most basic terms, because that first scene really is edge of the seat stuff, because they're just racing through this devastated city. Some of them are being picked off, the aliens are remorseless, and it's just so exciting. And you get several scenes like that throughout the film, and the conclusion is nuts. It just goes off into a slightly different direction towards the end, and but it's just so joyously entertaining. You can't really go wrong with it. So I entirely recommend it if you're in the mood for that sort of film. And like I say, the biggest tragedy is we've got to watch it on the small screen. I'm really hoping it will get some sort of cinematic release at some point. I think that Paramount, who funded it to the tune of $200 million, so it's no small beer, they sort of got into a bit of a panic during the pandemic, as we all did, and I think they worried that this title, that's not a franchise film, it's not a sequel or a remake, might get a bit lost, and they decided to sell it off to Amazon, who I dare say paid a pretty penny for it, and will do well from it. But it is a film, this sort of film you want to see on the biggest possible screen. So if you've got a big projector unit, which I will soon, if you've got a massive screen, you will enjoy it more than those of us with slightly smaller screens. But I am hoping it will eventually reach the big screen somehow. That's The Tomorrow War, which is available now on Amazon Prime. It gets from me a big chunky, because the only fault is that the dialogue is a bit stiff in places and the characterization is a bit sort of back of the fag packet type thing. But that's not why we're here. We're here for the spectacle, and this film delivers enormously. That's The Tomorrow War. Just watch it, and if you've watched it, come on, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you thought of it. Tell me what you think of my review. Give it the thumbs up. Subscribe. Yeah. Anyway, subscribe will be great. Would really like you to subscribe, because there's a lot of stuff coming. A lot more film reviews. I'm starting up a new thread of archive film reviews, retro film reviews, looking back at some classic old films and perhaps some films you don't know, and recommending them to you. So there's plenty to come here, and until we meet next time, you know what they say. Hey, you keep taking this stuff.